Boom. I heard people outside, and when I looked out the window, the whole house was already engulfed. And the guy was out here just screaming that my baby girl is in there. My baby girl is in there.
This was a story that I started following last year, and it popped up on my timeline. So I went to check and see if there were any updates on it. I don't know if you're familiar with this story, but I'll give a little background on it. It happened in Akron, Ohio, March 30th, 2021. A little after 4 a.m., it took all of 4 minutes, and a pretty little 8-year-old who attended Akron Preparatory School as a second grader was killed. Roniah Bosewell Bartee was asleep when the fire had ripped through her family's home. It was said by WKYC that 4 adults and another child was able to evacuate the duplex. A firefighter by the name of Sergi Lash, who was injured himself trying to save Roniah's life. He found her in an upstairs bedroom. She was rushed to the children's hospital, where she later died at 4:30 a.m. Even firefighters on the scene had taken her death hard. Some of them have young children themselves. And unfortunately, she did not get out her room in time. Roniah's mother, Omisha Boswell, 25 years old, believes this was foul play. She says someone threw something in her home that day. She had awoken to a loud pounding. It sounded like someone was trying to kick in her front door. 3 seconds later, you heard the window shattering. She believes that someone had thrown something in her living room, which caused the fire that killed her daughter. She doesn't know of anyone who would want to target her family. She'd only been living there since January at the duplex, so that was just about 3 months before this tragedy occurred. Even neighbors had heard the family screaming that Roniah was still upstairs. On the 911 call that was dialed by her mother, and of course her mother was very frantic, you heard a male voice saying he just could not get to her. The flames were extremely high. The heat was intense. Flames was shooting through the roof as onlookers looked on. Some of these pictures even was taken by a neighbor that stayed across the street from the family. So this was actually happening in real time. Neighbors were stunned. Roniah, a sweet, kind little girl, was just outside playing on the trampoline with her cousins. Who would do this? And how did this happen? There was an investigation that was supposed to be going on to see how the fire started. I honestly haven't found anything on that, but I do know that sometimes things do take a little while. If this was an intentional fire, like Roniah's mother believes it to be, I do hope the perpetrator or the perpetrators are held responsible. Roniah loved pulling pranks on her family. She loved being around her family and friends. She loved going to school, making TikTok videos, singing and dancing. Her aunt called her a bright light that shined within her family, and my condolences to Roniah's family. Roniah's school, the Akron Preparatory, did a remembrance for her and had counselors on hand for her fellow young students who might need to speak to somebody. This was a horrible situation. The loss of property and materialistic things could be replaced, but Roniah couldn't. So again, from the bottom of my heart, my condolences to Roniah's parents. And I do hope we didn't get the news. You know, I live in a whole different state than Ohio. Hopefully they have gotten the answers that they needed. And if they haven't, hopefully soon they will. Rest in peace, Roniah.